6 months ago, we purchased this 32 feet sailboat for just $4,000 without getting a survey done. Because the boat looked alright and we just went sailing straight away. And we've been sailing and learning and having a blast. Now we got the boat on the hard. We need to do some boat work and things are a lot worse than what we thought. Holy shit! But today we have a special guest here at the boat. And I mean, better late than never. So we have Ole, a surveyor, coming to have a look at our boat to tell us how shit it probably is. But also to help me and maybe you kind of go through what are the things that you could look for if you go looking, especially at an older boat. Like where should you pay special attention and when should you consider hiring a surveyor. So let's meet Ole and have a look at our boat. Oh, there he is. Hi, Ole.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming and having a look at our boat. So, where do we start?
Yeah, we will start where we came first. So, check the underwater area and find out what to look at if you have the boat on dry, maybe by buying or later when you own the boat, to check out how's the condition of the overall material without scanning the moisture inside, just to have a view on it and maybe we can figure out some problems before doing a professional survey.
So this is something, like what you're going to do now is basically something that I could do if I go and look and have a boat.
Yeah, we will start overall, also my surveys, I'm always starting with a visual check. So I will check the bearings and the overall condition, how thick is the paint, if you can see some bubbles in the underwater area. Does the keel has got ground contact, so you have an egg on the keel? Do we have some delamination, cracks, and everything that you can check just by looking at it. First, when you came to the boat, you can normally look on the shape. So do we have some unroundings or unnormal movements in the boat? So we can see the boat has a quite straight shape. And if you can see some waves on the hull when you look like this way, and then it's kind of sign that there might be a problem, and we can look at it later in more detailing way.
So how does this boat looks?
That looks quite good. So normally we have, like you see it when you stay there, we have here quite very little of these waves. Just hard to see, but they are there. But then we need to make us clear that it's an old boat, so it's hand laminated, so it's definitely not perfect. So, and then what's also very easy to see for everyone is having a look on the keel. So if you do have some cracks or something like that. So the first view we see here is that we have a little bit of rusty water. So we have an inlaminated steel here for the ballast. And that is the first sign that maybe there was some damages. And if we are looking more in detail, we can see, yeah, this boat cuddled with a rock. Yeah.
Wasn't me.
Yeah. Every owner says that. It was always a foreign owner. Here you need to always check out, because when the owner is good at boat work, he could do filler over it, and then you wouldn't see it because there is a thick anti-fouling paint on it. So what you can do, you can get yourself a hard stick or a hammer or a soft hammer, of course, and then you can knock from here going down. So here we hear that here. So it's kind of solid, and if you go more up here, it sounds different. So you can hear the changing of the material, and you would also hear it here. If there is filler inside, then you would hear it. So I'm not having a special hammer, but I have a stretcher with a handle on it, and that is perfect for it. So you can see it here. That sounds solid. And then normally here it would be more going a bit more to this way. You need to difference between what kind of keel we have. So here we have a moderate long keel. So we have an inlaminated steel here inside. So there you can also check with these scans if we have a delamination between the steel and the GRP that is put over it. So Here there is no GRP inside, and if we go more to the back, we hear it there.
Yeah, that's clear.
It's in. So you can hear just by knocking on it, you can hear difference. Yeah, you can start to interpretate what does that mean, the different sounding, or you can just check out, okay, we have a different sounding on this area, maybe you make a little painting for yourself, and then you say, okay, there is more a bit whole, there it sounds very strong. And after that you can also start at home, checking in the internet what could be the problem there. And the thing what we are doing right now is that if you check the boat, you can decide if do you need a survey or not. I would say a survey is always great, but in the end it will cost money, and that's the way for you to check if it's really necessary to do the survey or maybe not. Next part that we can also check just by looking at is these parts when you have both thrusters or something like that. There are tunnels that are laminated inside, so we can also take our hammer or knocking material and just going around. And also if there the sound is changing, then we have maybe a delamination of the material or holes inside that could be a problem in the future.
So here you would say it
That
sounds
sounds good. Yeah.
I couldn't hear a difference at least.
No, that is sounding great. Maybe one of the parts that is great. Next step, when you're inside the boat, you're checking definitely the tunnel from the inside. And normally you can see when there is water coming in. And then if you have the maybe a normal keel, that is a steel keel that is connected with bolts, then you can also see the connection area where the keel is glued or laminated to the hull. So this is the area where there is a lot of strength when you are sailing or maybe touching the ground. So you can check for any cracks that you see or rusty parts and so on. So maybe here we have, so here the different, that is kind of,
Oh yeah.
so here we have the difference.
So here there's filler, or what?
Maybe not a filler, but we have
Something.
like an air bubble or filler. So you can, for that you always need to ask the owner, because you are not allowed to do it just by yourself. And then we have here, we see the cracks, and then you can open it. But in this part we can say it directly. So we have here the J-cold of the boat, and this one cracks, and there is definitely water or moisture below there. So here we don't have filler, we have a delamination.
So would you be worried about this, or is it like?
Oh, not. I wouldn't say worried about, because it's quite a solid boat. The material is strong on all boats, so it's built much thicker than it should be, or like the modern boats. So these things you can easily repair. You sand it down completely to the steel, or to the lamination if it's under the gel coat quite good, and then just put filler on it. Epoxy paint, and then it's quite good. On these steel keels, no paint will hold forever, so you need to do jobs on it. And also on new boats, you will have that after a few years, you have rust and so on. Next thing you can always check are the through hulls. So to figure out which material it is and in what shape they are. So it would be very sad if the boat goes down because one of these. Because changing them is definitely possible and not that expensive, and yeah, it's your own safety. So most of them on the old boats, if they are cheap, that means they are most of the times not in great shape. You need to change them. So what we can see here, that the boat normally has a driving shaft down there. And one of the foreign owners decided, oh no, maybe it's too far away from the rudder and I want to have more agility in the harbor. So he built in sail drive. So if it's done good, it's okay. So we just need to check out if this area is completely dry, no water coming inside. If this one is made good, if the engine foundation is also made good, because the engine is now here and before it was there. So these are a lot of works the foreign owner did on this boat. So there you need to look in detail if these jobs are done good, because a lot of owners think they're doing a great job, but in the end it's sometimes not that perfect.
Yeah, like I did not know that that this was changed at all before we lifted the boat up. So when we started lifting the boat up, I had like just pictures of this boat, like the general model, how it looked.
Yeah.
And it had the shaft, so they put the strap, and it put it exactly on the on the sail drive, because I mean we thought, yeah, that's a good spot.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Oh,
So they lifted it a little bit out of the water
Yeah.
with like, no, stop.
Yeah. So I think we don't need a professional here to see that this one is completely destroyed. And also it is destroyed a little bit of the boat. So yeah, we normally, if you have very small of these cracks, you can repair them. So it can be welded on it. That is possible, but this one it's completely destroyed.
I mean, now this one is pretty shot, but
Yeah,
if it didn't look so bad, like what would you be looking for here?
So we will check the outside cracks, so the normal condition. If you have some like these ones, if it's turned around and so you can see that, and then we can check if it's moving a lot. So this one is okay, but if you can move it upside down, you have problems in the gearbox. But this one is okay. Then also very important on the sail drive, because it's out of aluminium, and aluminium starts corrosion in seawater. You always have a look on the sail drive anode, because this one needs to be changed. Like, yeah, it depends on the water, but quite every year or maybe every second year you need to remove them and change them. Nowadays you can get them splitted, so you don't need to remove the propeller. For this one you need to remove the propeller and make a new bearing, a new anode on it.
So this one, would you
change it? Definitely.
You need to change this.
Yeah.
This is like,
normally it's much more bigger. But it's to say that clear, an anode is good when it's gone, because that says it's working. This part here also, you definitely need to repair it. On a more modern boat, in this case, you need to start laminating. But because this part here, you can hear it, it's quite thick, very thick. So it starts here getting smaller, and this part is quite solid. So just sand it, that it's in good and clean shape, and then it's possible to put just a filler on it. Then what you can do next is seeing on the hull if you can see on somewhere gel coat. And if you can see gel coat, something like here, because we can see here the gel coat starts to crack a little bit, and that's a sign that you need to think about removing also not only the anti-fouling and the epoxy layer that is maybe below, that you need to remove also the gel coat under the water line, because after 30 to 40 years without so much maintenance, or like 5 years without maintenance, it's dried out, so it starts cracking and not being in a good shape. Here we can see the rudder compartment from the rudder blade. Most of the old boats have this kind of building, so they have a full skeg that goes completely down to the end of the rudder. There are some plus points and some minus points on it. The good point is, on the first view we have 3 bearings. Yeah, we have 3 bearings, one here, and one is more on the top. So it's one more than like on the normal, like on the modern boats you have only these 2 of bearings. If you hit a rock, maybe this one was an old wood or something like that. If that would hit with a full speed on the rudder, if you have only the modern way of rudder, it can make a damage. Here it's very protected, because the modern rudder blades, so you have the shaft like here, and the rudder are also in the front of the shaft. So if you go to the right, the front part helps you steering the boat. And on this boat you don't have these parts, so if you are going on strong winds, maybe hard on the wind, it will get hard to steer the boat, because you have also on these size of boats a lot of pressure on these things. And also if you're planning to doing a bigger trip like over the Atlantic, you need to remember that when buying things like an autopilot. Here you need to work a lot more, and also the autopilot, than on a modern spade rudder. Then next we can do, without having any instruments of checking, you can check the bearings. If it's moving. This one below here is moving a lot.
So that's bad.
Yeah, and also the upper one, you need to push it a little harder. You can see it, it's also moving. To be fair, it's normal. It's like normal waste of tear, because it's all... Oh,
Nice.
I can't be clean. Because it's made out of plastic. With the time, it starts getting a little bit off, and then you have a little bit of play inside. Normally, I try to say if you have more than 0.5 millimeter of play all around, then it's time to change it.
And how much would you say this is?
This, I would say it's like 5 millimeters.
So you would say it's time to do something about this?
Yeah. So it's time. One of the last things you can do, just by looking at it, you can check if we have somewhere any kind of bubbles. So bubbles are always a sign that the osmosis is there, or that it's going to start in the future. So, but here it's looking good. I haven't seen any bubbles below the waterline. We have some kind of bubbles here up the waterline, but that is a new paint, and that is often the problem, that it's between the gel coat and the paint. So, and we also have here kind of water inside. So yeah, we don't have bubbles on the bottom. And then last thing you can do is just knocking all over the boat. If you can hear a different sounding. Here we have also again a little bit different of sounding. You can hear that. It's different. So we have something going on here, and if you check on a closer look,
if you ask the owner, if you can
ask the owner. That's quite important. And then we can see here that it's the epoxy, so the protection paint that came off, and below that, no, it's the gel coat that came off, and now we are on the connection paint between the gel coat and the lamination. But that is not a big problem. So you need to check if there is moisture inside. But also this one can be done in a normal winter job. I'm not sure if you can hear it on the microphone, but you hear a difference when you're knocking here and here. So, and that's what I'm meaning. You can check a lot of things just by looking at it, and use your hands. That is quite important. And yeah, I would say next part is trying out some instruments.
Okay, so this video is not quite sponsored by Ole, but he's just a friend who's coming to help me out, because he could see that this boat was not great. But he does actually have a surveying company based out of Germany, but I do think they travel like all over Europe, maybe even all over the world. So if you do like need a proper surveyor to come and help you find a boat, all the details of Ole are down in this description. I know they have a cool, I don't know, product or service where instead of like flying to you and doing the survey, they will send you a camera, a 360 camera, and then they can kind of do a mini survey virtually. And of course, that's a lot cheaper than being there in person. So I think that's really cool.
So yeah, we are offering for our clients the remote pre-assessment, where we send the client wherever he is located. We send him a 360 camera and a Wi-Fi module, and also a list where everything is documented, where you need to film, how fast, how small, what is important for the light. And when you receive the package, most of the times with Express within 1 day, then you can go to the boat. We will be there on a phone call available if you have any questions when you are at the boat. And then you just go with the camera around all the boat and all the details that you find. You can knock on the boat while the camera is running. You can check all the things we made before, just the visual check. You can do while holding the camera in your hand. And also in the inside, put it into the lockers and into the floor or the bilge. And after the visit, when you have scanned everything, you just connect the camera to the electricity and the file will be uploaded automatically. And I'm sitting at home, and within 1 or 2 hours when the file is uploaded, I can say like 70% I'm doing on a survey, I can tell you about the boat. And that's quite great because like on this boat, we could have seen a lot of things before buying the boat. And the service is much cheaper than a survey. So the normal price for the service is 490 euros.
So you're saying that 500 euros could have saved us 4,000?
Yeah, and so it's important. It's not an official survey that you can use for the insurance. It's really just for the first view of the boat to decide if you want to buy it. If anyone needs help or assistance on buying a boat, getting the camera for first inspection or the full survey, just write me an email or get in contact with that over the website. And yeah, we will be happy if you get in contact with us, and we will find your dream boat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's move on with the inspection of our lovely boat.
Yeah. Now we will start checking the moisture. What is important when you check the moisture is, I have here a little instrument for it. And if you put it just on the anti-fouling, that says it's not good. What is the reason for it right now is that the anti-fouling that we have on top of all boats is it's open for water, so it sucks water inside the painting, and then it slowly came off when you put the boat again on the ground. So it's really, really, really important. If the foreign owner tells you that he always put anti-fouling on the boat, so there is no possibility of osmosis or something like that, then he has not a lot of knowledge about boats, because anti-fouling is definitely nothing for osmosis. It's just against organic growth and not against osmosis. So what we are going to do, we ask the owner, Adam, am I allowed to scratch off anti-fouling of your boat?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, great. So we will find a free area with no frame. That's sounding quite good. And then
That's a horrible sound.
And then we will remove the paint till the epoxy layer or the gel coat.
And this is now the gel coat layer.
This is the gel coat layer. Now we will put our instrument on it. And if I'm doing a survey on a boat, which needs to be on land, so that I'm saying all of the clients' boat needs to be for the survey on land. Best would be some days before the survey that we can start on land, because this moment is so important, because it can look all great, and we had it on boats for like €500,000. We had osmosis on it, so they don't buy it because it can be a damage of 20, 30, 50, 60,000 euro. Okay, so what we have here is a measurement of 7.4%. Every instrument has a different scale. For this instrument, I am doing everything under 4% of moisture. It's okay. So we can work that. You don't need to worry about everything over 4%. We need to start the deciding process. Do we have osmosis? Do we have just moisture? And figure out what it could be, that I can tell the clients and the owner of the boat how much the price will be for the reparation that you need to discuss after it, if you are buying the boat for a low price or not buying the boat. Do you know if here is a water tank or something behind it, like a steel tank or cables?
There is not.
Okay, that is not good, because normally you need to check if there are, as I said before, like tanks, metal or something else behind it, because that will irritate the instrument. So we have here kind of moisture inside, but as we figured out before, we don't have bubbles. So my first solution for it would be, normally I would take like 6 to 10 spots of it when the anti-fouling is dry, not dry. When the anti-fouling is dry, you can check it perfectly everywhere. So normally we would take different spots of it to check out if it's only here or if it has a bigger problem. So my kind of reparation to make it like a quick and dirty way is to remove the anti-fouling, minimum to the gel coat. If you have on other parts also the gel coat cracks, also remove the gel coat. So this one is like 1 week for 1 or 2 persons of hard work in the late summer, and then just put the boat on dry, put a cover on it, and just let it over the winter dry out. And after that you can put the paint again on it. We will taking our reference, so it's 7.5 here, 7.7 around there. And when we go there, it's the same. So what we have learned at this point, that the anti-fouling is not wet. So we can check everywhere on the hull, because normally when the anti-fouling is wet, I put it here, I have like a much higher moisture when I have like a difference of 3%. So at this part, then you can decide further going on, doing the full survey, or start talking to the owner, maybe with the surveyor or just by your own, and talk about the problem that you have, because this one needs to be done. It's most of the times if you buy a boat for 4,000 euro, the owner won't say he will negotiate any further because it's a cheap boat. But also if you're buying big boats for like 200,000 euro or 100,000 euro or maybe 30,000 euro, that is a lot of money. And if you have these problems, you need the time on the dry dock. If you are in the north, it's quite cheaper. But if you buy a boat in the Met or something like that, you will pay like for half a year on dry, it's like 4, 5, 6,000 euro. So that needs to be calculated if it's still worth for you, for the boat.
So it's not that you're like so much worried about the damage per se, it's more like you have to think about the time and the money it will take.
Yes, yeah. So we don't have the big problem because we don't have a big layer of any paint on it, and we don't have bubbles. So we don't have a big problem with osmosis. It needs to be said that if the boat has osmosis, it won't go down. So it still can sail. You just need to repair it in some years because the osmosis starts to go all around. But only if you have one bubble, that's kind of okay. Next thing is normally, so we have a tent on it, but also checking just the front shape if you have any damages from a.
Yeah, because I mean, I definitely did not do some damage up here. I did not.
Hey, let's have a close-up that nobody sees it's this boat. But you see here, yeah, there are damages. They are still open. Here we have old repaired damages that are not done quite great. So after that you can sand it and polish a bit. Yeah, and also you can put these instruments. You're always free to put it on the hull. So here we have it's okay. Like this one is good, it's good, and then it starts getting higher. So because in this paint it's normally there's no water inside. So here it's dry and then it's getting more wet and wet if we are going down. So we will have a little bit of moisture inside the lamination. But that, at this moment, we are still at, it's savable. But I have seen some photos. It will stay interesting.
Okay, so now you had a look basically at the hull, there on the side.
Yes.
Like, what is your, just considering this part, what would be your conclusion for this? Like, what would you kind of say to the potential buyer if this was the boat?
Okay, so let's say this is the only option that we have. There is no other boats on the market in the nearby for that low price. So in that case, I would tell them, okay, it will be a lot of work. So this is like a job for one winter if you have a normal job nearby. So you don't have time all the day. But it's makeable, but you need to plan that quite good, because also for the bearings you need to disconnect the rudder, take it out, and you only can do it when the boat is in the crane. You need a new propeller, you need the through hulls. So just on the underwater area, if we say the moisture will come out again, so it's in good shape after drying out, we are here when you have a lot of manpower, on like 3 to 4,000 euro if you are doing all by yourself.
So already
The
it would double the
boat.
price basically for
Yeah,
just
and
the
then
bottom.
then we are like on 8,000 euro with a boat that has a great underwater area because everything is new, propeller bearings and the paint building. So the boat is maybe a little bit higher than the other ones on the market. But first, when you buy a cheap boat, try to find out what these boats cost in good shape. And then you need to figure out if it's worth it. If you love the boat because you know the history and so on, then money doesn't make any difference. But if you're just buying a boat because of having a boat, because you like boats, money is always a problem. In the past, when I have done my refit project, so I met some before, I think the sentence I said most of the times to guys who are asking how it's going on is buying a boat is something you really can't recommend to anybody. So you're in this point, so it's cold, it's shitty, it's raining, and you are there scratching off the anti-fouling, and your girlfriend is at home and at the warm home has I don't know, has a cake or and a great coffee or a hot wine, and you are here like it's not fun. So if someone says this is a fun job, then try something else to figure out what is really fun in life.
Ole did a quick survey of our boat, but we still managed to film for hours. So I've decided to split this survey into 2 parts. The second part will focus on the interior. So subscribe to the channel to not miss out on that video and just all the knowledge that Ole is sharing with us.